Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the Saturday night live stream, live from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. We'll talk about Bitcoin, we'll talk about the news, we'll talk about cryptos, other cryptos. I'm going to move some crypto around for you guys so you can see what's happening. I'm going to give you wallet tips and I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on the chat window and answer your questions and troubleshoot your problems on the fly. So let's get started. All right, so welcome everybody. I'm here again with the rig, and as I promised last week, I put up that cool Bitcoin logo that my dad got me for Christmas. You can see it here in the background, and here's the coup de grace. We can turn it on. I like that color. That's the most orange of the colors, but you can flip the colors around. Some of them are brighter, I guess, but I do like the orange. It's more, traditional for the Bitcoin logo to be orange. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of, it's made of metal, so it's pretty heavy to mount on the wall, and you can sort of see the little cord coming off it. It's a USB connector, so I had to get a USB extender so that I could get it plugged in for this week, and I had to order battery for this one. I thought I had every battery in the world. I'm kind of a hoarder, OCD type that likes to have extras of everything. And I've got plenty of batteries in the house, but for some reason I didn't have any. I think it's a 2025 battery that goes in this. So I bought like 6 of them so I won't run out. So anyway, thanks for being here tonight. It's a pleasure to have everybody here with me tonight. Let's go ahead and switch over to the main camera here. And welcome everybody that's joined me here tonight. Mr. Miski, Kenneth Wiedner is here again. It's good to have you guys here. Hans Hannah 350, Kojo Kinglo, who I believe was here last week. Happy New Year. Nomis Yarg, Happy New Year. Joy. While we're on the subject, if we're not really on the subject, Kenneth just mentioned it. I have the wave input window here that monitors the mic, and you'll notice if I tap it, it goes red. So I'm going to keep that up in the corner and try to keep an eye on it so that I will be alerted when if I accidentally mute the mic. So hopefully, our New Year's resolution from last week, which was no mic mutes in 2023. I'll try to stay true to that. Amsterdam, Holland, thanks for being here. Joanne L., always a pleasure to have you. Frank Rodriguez. Let's see, Dave Flowers again. That's great. Justin. Emmanuel Adamasu, who has also been here several times before. Thank you for being here. And Kazar Kazam. Hello. E. Poston. I believe E. Poston was also here last week. Kazar Kazam, I don't recognize you. This might be your first time. If it is, welcome. Thank you for being here. Now, I'm going to have to admit to all of you. Oh, wait, let's pop out chat here real quick. Move that over to the other side so I can keep an eye on the chat window and the mic window. Yeah, I can see them both. So hopefully we won't have any problems with that this week. I did put out a video. I posted it this morning. I had worked on it earlier. I'd worked on it yesterday and the day before, and it's kind of a niche recovery how-to, right? I've done like full recovery videos on how to do a restore from backup using a 24-word recovery phrase. I've done those for Ledger and I've done them for Trezor. But that is not always necessary, right? A lot of the common problems that people stumble into do not require a full restore. And they get in a panic mode and they go through the restore, and then they get confused, and did I do this right? Did I do that right? And so this video kind of breaks down when you need to do a full restore and when you just need to get Ledger Live connected and back in shape, right? Two pretty common scenarios that I've dealt with in the past. And then I also had a question in my YouTube comments earlier today, and they were asking, is there any way to see the backup phrase on the Ledger device? Now, I've had this question before, as far as people asking that they wanted to see the private key. How can I see the private key on the Ledger device? Well, it's not meant for human eyes, first of all. It's like a 512-bit binary number. And if it were written out in base 10 format, which is the way we're used to looking at numbers, it would just be this huge long number, which doesn't really mean anything to human eyes. So, but I get a lot of people, oh, I want to see it. I want to confirm it. I want to know it's there. And the question today was about the backup phrase. Is there any way of looking at the device to get the backup phrase? And the answer is no. It maybe would be kind of cool if it would do that. But that's a one-time only thing, and you don't want to be messing around with the backup phrase too much. But I totally understand the need to confirm that you have the right backup phrase written down. That is vital. Now, of course, the first piece of advice I'll give on that is that when you are setting up the device, you should be very careful and very mindful and take your time, write it down legibly, and just make sure that you've written it down correctly. Also, during the setup process, it does ask you to confirm the backup phrase. So you have to go through the device and choose each word to confirm that you've written down the backup phrase correctly, right? But there is also another thing that you can do, which is called recovery check. And that is an app. Whoops. Let's put Ledger in there. Might have been in. Oh yeah, it's right there. It's an app that you can download for your device. Whoops. That will actually ask you to enter each word of your recovery phrase, and then will tell you whether or not the phrase that you entered is in fact the phrase that is currently being used on the device, which is a good confirmation step, right? Did I write my phrase down correctly? You want to make sure you do that. There's other ways to do that. You could also use the recovery phrase, restore it to a secondary device, and then use that secondary device to confirm each account that you have set up in Ledger Live. That's a little more involved. The recovery check is pretty tedious too, but at least for those of us that are, meticulous and maybe a little paranoid, they're worried that, oh my God, maybe I wrote down the wrong word and I'm going to put, 20 grand worth of crypto on this thing. And what if something happens and the recovery phrase that I wrote down was incorrect? Now, I get that, right? But one thing you need to remember also is that these are all English words taken from a predefined list. So it's not like it's a weird word that is spelled oddly. It's always going to be, you look at the word and you're going to say, oh, recovery, if that's the word, or lime or something like that. It's going to be a word that you'll recognize immediately. And even if you write it, even if you misspell it when you write it down, it'll be painfully obvious when you're doing your recovery what the right word is, right? It's going to offer you the word in a list. So don't worry too much about that kind of stuff. They're not codes, right? They are actual words. So anyway, I have to admit to you guys that I'm woefully unprepared for the live stream. I did not hard link news stories before we started. So we're just going to take it casual tonight. I'm going to look at the top crypto news sites that I usually check. We'll go through some of those stories and kind of get everybody up to speed on the news. Seems like there's a lot of regulation related news. We talked last week about how there might be some new crypto regulation this year, but the Congress needs to be settled, and they just managed to elect a new Speaker of the House after, I don't know, 14 ballots, which is very irregular. It hadn't happened in like 159 years or whatever. So they need to like they still haven't even, they're just getting started, right? They haven't even started getting settled yet, but they might look at some crypto regulation. But what we're seeing in the news this week are investigations into different crypto related companies. So that's kind of interesting. So we'll check that out. So let's see here. There's some new people that jumped in. So welcome. Scott is here. Wonderful to have Scott back again. JDO is here as well. Maybe JDO missed it, but I've got the wave link up here in my secondary monitor where I can sort of look at what's going on with my mic. And if I accidentally, it turns red. So hopefully I will notice that. For all the plans of mice and men, right? So we'll see. Let's see. Dave Flowers, it's a little disconcerting in these bear market lows that 60% of my total net worth is in these blockchains and significantly down. Yes, it is. It is very distressing. It can be very depressing. I've got, when I built up my crypto portfolio over the years, and accumulated Bitcoin and Ethereum, Litecoin, Cardano, XRP, all the big ones from 2017, and some other altcoins. And when those altcoins started to really take off, along with Bitcoin in 2020 and 2021, I had a lot of profit that I was skimming off the top to invest in other coins that, were on my radar that looked like they were going to be good. And a lot of those investments that I used with, cream off the top of my profits are like 90% down from where I bought them, right? Some of them I had to get out because I had quite a bit of my net worth in my crypto portfolio. And when things were great, and I needed a few grand, I would skim that off the top and throw it in my bank. And as the crypto market kept falling and falling, it became harder and harder to skim off the top, right? So I feel your pain, as Bill Clinton would say. But a lot of those coins that I bought back in the day, I still have those coins because it didn't really make sense for me to sell them. So if I threw $1,000 into a coin and bought X number of coins, and now those coins are only worth like $50 out of that $1,000 investment, it didn't really make sense for me to cash in on $50 and just totally blow the investment, right? So I still have quite a few of those coins that are way down, but they're not going to be up anytime soon, right? They're not going to be there to pay next month's car note, right? They're going to be long-term if they ever come back at all, right? That's another risk that we take. So I get it. I'm all with you, Dave, on that. Good to have JDO and Dan. Dan is here. Okay, great. Dan is here. Wonderful. Good to have you, Dan. So as I mentioned, I did not line up news stories, so we're just gonna go on the fly. I did want to touch a little bit on the jobs report, which was the big mover of the markets, and I guess the job report came out on Thursday, Friday, whenever it came out. And it moved the market in an upward direction. And it was weird because we've been having this good news is bad news stuff, and bad news is good news kind of stuff. So normally a good jobs report would mean that things are going great, and that would mean that the Fed is not going to be lowering rates anytime soon. That was the initial reaction to the quote-unquote good jobs report. But then, as the day wore on, apparently the fact that it was a good jobs report tended to be good for the market, right? At least that's the excuse that they give. The idea there was that, hey, things aren't as bad as we thought they are. Looks like we're not going to have a recession. We'll have a soft landing, as they say, right? And of course, this all moved the crypto markets. So pick your poison, right? Is it going to be the good news is bad news, that the Fed's going to keep raising rates because the job market is good? Or is it going to mean that, hey, the job market's good, the economy's good, so life is good, let's buy stocks? You choose. It's up to you. But if you read this article, which I did not link down below, which I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'll just drop them in over here where I usually do. All right. I'll just put the links. How's that? I won't put the titles. I mean, for those of you that are watching this and want to read these articles, at least I've got the links. Maybe I can go back later and put the titles in. If we dive into the report, you remember a few months back when I was telling you the difference between the, oh my gosh, there's two types of reports. There is the household survey and the establishment survey. And in simplistic terms, the establishment survey is job data provided to the government by companies, right? And that's usually what those figures are front and center when they give the job report. The household survey is the data that actual people provide. So establishment is what the companies are reporting, and household is personal data. So the establishment survey can say stuff like, oh yeah, we hired, all these companies, we hired a bunch of people. That's great. But the household survey can say, you know what? I already have a job, but I had to get a second job, right? That doesn't sound as good as, hey, we hired a bunch of people. And as it turns out, if we dive into these numbers down a little further, I'll just go down to this last pair. I know this stuff bores you guys. What does this mean in the grand scheme of things? The Philadelphia Fed's observation still stands, and while the BLS may claim that payroll prints were accurate, at least blah, 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 digging deeper reveals that once again that the quality composition of these jobs was far more dubious. So they're touting, hey, the jobs report is looking good. But most of the jobs they're talking about are part-time jobs or second jobs. We know in December the entire employment increase was thanks to part-time workers. And we don't have to tell readers that part-time jobs pay less, have zero benefits, and generally are far worse quality than full-time jobs. It means that the bulk of the job growth since March has been in the multiple job holder category, and that instead of 684,000 jobs have been given, what really happened is that 648,000 workers found more than one job to be able to afford living under the Biden administration, right? So on the face of it, it looked like a good jobs report. But if you get under the hood a little bit, it really wasn't that great of a jobs report. And so what this tells me and what I'm trying to get across is that these market moving reports are mostly just hot air, and that it could next week or 2 days from now, the market might suddenly realize, hey, you know what? That jobs report wasn't as good as we thought it was. And, or they just move on to the next news item that moves the market down or up. It's like, it's not a solid economy that we're working with here. And we still are loaded with debt. And the Fed is fighting inflation and losing, right? And the more they try to fight inflation, the worse it will be for the economy, right? For, bring on a recession or high unemployment, that kind of things. And as we can see already, the employment figures are not that great. Just think of yourself. What's going on with you? When I was a kid, my dad worked and my mom stayed home. She went back to college later in life and everything. So it's not like she was stuck in that, but she was there for us when we were kids. Now, most families need two incomes, right? The husband and the wife both have to work. Kids are at school or in daycare or whatever. Is that the American dream? Right? And now it seems to be getting worse. We got mom and dad are both working, and now dad has to find a second job to make ends meet. So, yeah. What does this have to do with the crypto market? I don't know. The broader markets drive the crypto markets. And so in 2023, let's hope that the crypto markets decouple from the broader markets. And there is plenty of great adoption news in the crypto sector that will drive the crypto market. I did also stumble on an article that mentioned that most years it's very rare for the stock market to be down 2 years in a row. Generally, a bad year in the stock market is countered by a better year after. I don't know if that's a hard and fast rule, but I saw an article that mentioned that. It's very rare to have back-to-back bad years. So the stock market might improve this year, and hopefully the crypto market will do much better than it did last year. We can't get much worse. Although there are still a lot of people that are saying that we're not at the bottom yet, and that the bottom will happen in Q1, and then maybe we'll recover in Q2. That seems to be the consensus. I don't have any hard facts to back that up because I didn't check the news. But let's look at where we're at here. Bitcoin price nearest 3-week high, as traders say, sub 7% CPI may see 19K. Here we go again. Right? These fake numbers from the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, that say that inflation is down to 7%, are going to cause this market euphoria where people are just going to, forget all their troubles and go running out and buying stocks and cryptos, right? Based on the CPI figures that are going to be released next week, right? I've talked many times about how fake the CPI numbers are, right? I was just talking about the job numbers, but the numbers that they use for inflation are the way they calculate it is much different than the way they calculated it back when Jimmy Carter was president. And if we still calculated inflation using those methods, then inflation is around 15, 16%, right? So what if the CPI comes in at 7% or less next week? Oh, market will go crazy. And it probably will. That just kind of bugs me when these fake news, when these fake statistics come out and move the market and everybody goes crazy. So we'll see. I don't know about 19K. It's been a while since we've seen 19K. Personally, I think we need a black swan, a capitulation before we're going to see, steady upside to the market like we saw in 2020 or like we saw in 2008, you know, when the bottom just kind of dropped out, or 2001 after 9/11, the bottom dropped out, you know. That's when that's the time to get in, and things can go up from there. But as it stands now, we're kind of in limbo. We don't know. Are we going down or are we going up? So we'll see. But if we break 19K, who knows where things could go from there. So that's the consensus, or at least one trader believes that, right? I don't know who said that. Bitcoin. All eyes on the CPI. Here we go. Brief uptick. Unemployment will rally in the coming months. Yields will fall off a cliff if CPI is low. Unemployment will rally. What does that mean? Will people start getting real jobs in the coming months? I don't know. Finally, looks like BTC is ready to break out of the 1617 base range. Who is this? Michael Van de Poppe, founder and CEO of trading firm 8. I don't know what that is. Is that a crypto-based or, whoops? Oh, he's got a Twitter account. Well, he must know something then. I've never heard of him. I'm not trying to make light of it. I'm just curious if he's market-oriented advisor or a crypto-oriented advisor. We'll see. So CPI data coming in next week, I believe. We'll see. Is the Bitcoin 16,000 at the bottom, or is it not? We'll find out. Right? Let's see. And I wanted to talk about a few of those stories that, let's go ahead and drop this in there too. I can get back to it later. All right. That's our market story. All right. But there were some stories about, MasterCard partners with Polygon. That's good news. Web3 music. That looks interesting. So Polygon has been on the radar quite a bit. I think JP Morgan actually did a currency swap using the Polygon network a month or so ago. And now we've got MasterCard partnering with Polygon. So a lot of good adoption news for Polygon. Now, when we hear stories about this and we're not sure we're at a bottom, right? Maybe buy a little bit and then, but don't go, don't mortgage the house and, roll your dice on everything, right? Maybe dip your toe and wait for more of a capitulation if you're really going to make your play. But keep an eye on these cryptos like Polygon and Ethereum and Bitcoin, of course, that are doing well, there's good news surrounding them in a bad market, right? These are the things you need to keep your eyes on so that either now or when the market really has that capitulation, that low, you jump in and get these at discount prices. All right. I'll go ahead and drop this in there. But I still haven't gotten to the story that I wanted to mention about, let's see, FTX and the Bahamas are dealing with liquidations. Here it is. Crypto conglomerate DCG, which is digital currency. What is it? Digital Currency Group, which is huge. And I hadn't heard about this till just, before the live stream. Apparently, the Department of Justice is investigating them for whatever. I don't know, money laundering. The prosecutors with the DOJ's Eastern District of New York office have requested interviews and documents from DCG and Genesis. Genesis is the big over-the-counter crypto market, right, for the big boys. While the SEC appears to be in a similarly early stage of its own inquiry, the report cited people familiar with the matter, saying that neither Genesis nor DCG, which is the parent company, have been accused of wrongdoing. Okay. but they are being investigated for whatever, right? Just checking. But, there's been a lot of talk about the next domino to fall after the FTX collapse. And so there has been talk around Digital Currency Group, which owns Genesis and also owns that other thing. What is it? Grayscale, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Grayscale. So if this is the other shoe that drops, it's going to be pretty bad for the crypto markets if DCG gets to trouble, right? Investigations can lead to nervous investors, panic, withdrawals, margin calls, that kind of stuff. So keep an eye on this story too, because that could be a market mover as well. All right. And I'll go back in and fill in those titles later. All right. So welcome, everybody. Good to have Mr. David here again. Thank you for being here, Mr. David. Biden inflation before. Peanut inflation in the late 70s. I remember that. Ethereum had a good 2022 versus most others cryptos, including BTC. Yeah, Ethereum had a major upgrade this year. So the news was good for Ethereum, a successful major upgrade. And the price didn't get hit too hard, or maybe not as hard as Bitcoin, but it's still down from its highs, right? It was up around 5,000 in the mid 21. So it's down, but maybe not so much from January to December. Richie Bison, does it ever feel like all these market experts do is blow hot air? Bunch of useless people, LOL. Polygon is going to be huge, right? Yeah, look at fundamentals. Don't look at the whims of the, traders. That's their job, right? They have to say something. They're supposed experts. So they're going to have to grasp at straws in order to get something out on paper. Whether it's, an analysis or an opinion or a forecast or whatever, right? They got to get something down on paper so they can, bring the bacon home. So they're basically going to go from day to day just looking at, looking at chicken entrails, trying to decide whether, the market's going to go up or down. And most of these so-called analysts don't lose their job when they're wrong, because you can't expect it to be right all the time. If you were right all the time, then, it wouldn't really be a market, right? If you could predict it exactly. So yeah. So the traders and the chartists and all these, just take everything you hear with a grain of salt. Maybe the SEC is trying to crush the Bitcoin price. That's hard to say. I mean, it's just a given that the establishment is going to be against crypto, right? It's a challenge to the status quo. So, of course, it's understood that, the banks, the Wall Street, the elites, the politicians, they're all tied into the system the way it is now. The dollar, the debt-based U.S. dollar. So yeah, they're really not too friendly with crypto, right? So of course, it's a given that they're going to be anti-crypto, and whether they're going to do things that obviously try to bear the price down, they're not going to do that out in the open, right? But we'll see, right? But it's a given that they wouldn't do anything to help the Bitcoin price, I'm sure, right? Let's see what we got here. I don't know anything about Shift Chain. That's the SEC trying to crush. How you doing, Rex MT? I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Dan, they shut down temporarily. Okay, so Dan's talking about Shift Coin, which is on the Atom chain ecosystem. Let's see. Do I use a VPN every time I use Ledger Live? No, I don't. I know how to use a VPN, but in general, my problem with a VPN is that it's a tunnel. So if I pay for really high internet speed, so by using a VPN 100% of the time, I'm throttling that high speed because my VPN is not going to give me the same speed I would get directly from my VPN, or I'm sorry, my ISP. And we had talked a couple weeks back about my new modem. Had to get a new modem. Had to get a new. Router. Had to reroute my cables to a certain extent. So let's do the speed test. It might lag the live stream a bit, but let's see where we're at there. There, bam. That's like the fastest I've ever got. Like 14,000 BPS. It's pretty nice, man. And I went through 3 routers before I finally found a router that would give me this speed. It had to have a 2.5 gigabit WAN port, right? Not LAN, WAN, right? It took me so long to get the right modem to take advantage of this speed. And so here we are, right? So I don't want to sacrifice all that, just because I'm, want to do a VPN. VPNs are fine when you need them. If, you're trying to, log in somewhere and they're blocking you because you're, from a US-based IP, then as long as it's legitimate, just log in from somewhere else so that you can view whatever it is you're trying to view. I understand. Or if you're, you're worried about privacy. Now, VPN gives you privacy, but not anonymity, depending on your VPN provider, right? Because if you are, using a mainstream VPN and you've paid them with a credit card, your personal information is available. And if the government goes to a VPN provider and demands information about their users, they will, by law, have to give it. So you want to pick a VPN provider that's, like in a jurisdiction that's, not, a non-U.S. jurisdiction is usually the best bet to preserve your privacy. But even then, you're not guaranteed privacy. And also, your ISP, your internet service provider, like in my case, Xfinity, they're going to know that I'm using a VPN. And that's not illegal, but it could be a flag, Okay, how many of your, the users are using VPNs? Like, well, we've got 500,000 users in the West Michigan area. I'm just guesstimating, and like 50 of them are using VPN. Oh, well, that narrows it down a bit, doesn't it? Right? So I'm not trying to scare you and say that you're a target because you're using VPN, but your ISP knows you're using a VPN, unless you're using Tor, and that sort of thing goes. That's going down another rabbit hole. Eastern Bloc VPN. There you go. Let's see. VPN can only be as fast as the VPN server you're connected to. Same is true for non-VPN connection, can only be as fast as the web server you were connected to. Yes, that is also painfully clear to me because I was downloading some Skyrim mods last night and I was only getting like 10 or 15 BPS on those download speed because the server wasn't giving me that, right? So yeah, I mean, everything's relative to that extent. All right, so let's see. We talked a little bit about what to do, with your, how to confirm your 24-word backup phrase. Did I write my 24-word backup phrase down correctly? And I talked about ledger recovery check. And last week on the live stream, I did go through this topic of looking at, where, if you've lost access to your crypto, is it your device or is it Ledger Live? And then, kind of working from either side, depending on what you need to do to gain access, regain access to your crypto. And this video is pretty straightforward in the fact that I did not deal with the fact that a lot of people will have this issue where they'll go to Ledger Live and they'll try to sell or send some crypto and they'll get the error message that the device is not correct, right? Let me see if I can recreate that for you. I can do it because I know what causes it, and I've got one of the causes in my hand right now. So let's see if we can get that. All right, so I have my device connected to my computer. Let's go ahead and turn this guy on. We'll move in here. Let's see, we'll give it this. All right, so you can see what we're looking at here. So this is my Ledger device, and I've got my Ledger Live here. And let's go into one of the Bitcoin accounts. Which Bitcoin account is this? It just says Bitcoin. Let me go back here. Just take a look. I see what I'm doing. Okay. Actually, what I want to do is I want to get out of this real quick. And if I can find it. Oh, maybe I didn't save this. No, I guess I didn't. I think I got rid of the Ledger Live folder that I was doing a video. So anyway, I can't do that. Well, I can do this. I'll just use the other device. We'll do it that way. I'm going to go ahead and just connect my go-to Ledger Nano X. I was using the Ledger Black, which has a separate configuration on there of about 5 coins. All right, so here I was all ready to show you this, and then, okay. All right, so let's go ahead and launch our Ledger Live again. All right, we've got our device. So let's take a look at this account, this Bitcoin account, and let's do a hardware verification using the receive button, right? If I want to generate a receiving address, I can just click receive and go straight to the address by clicking don't want to connect my device. Or I can do it and allow it to run the hardware verification check, which it's doing now, right? It wants me to open the Bitcoin app. I don't know how it knows that. Let's try that again. Let's boop, boop, boop. I knew I was going to get that message, but not so fast. I think first it's okay. So this is the message that confounds many people. And bless his heart, I had a very nice gentleman who emailed me, and he said, I'm getting this message. What's wrong? And let's read the message here. Let me turn this off for a sec. The message says, something went wrong. Please check that your hardware wallet is set up with the recovery phrase or passphrase associated with the selected account. Now that's a mouthful. Basically what it's saying is that the device you have connected does not match this account, right? This account was set up by a device, and you're not using that device right now. But in addition to that, it's also saying you might have the right device, but you have the wrong configuration. So either it's the same device and it's been restored using or it's been reset and it's got a new configuration on it, which happens to a lot of people, or you set up a passphrase and you're not using the passphrase, or you put in the wrong passphrase. So there are a lot of ways you can get this message. But in general, the first thing that I always suggest to people when they get this message is that you have the wrong device attached. Do you have more than one device? And sometimes they'll go, no. Well, think again. Do you have more than one ledger device? I'll go, oh, yeah, I do. I got two. I said, well, try the other one. See if that works. And like I said, this wonderful gentleman that he sent me an email, he told me he had this message. First thing I told him was check. If you have more than one device, check all of them. Check each one by one until it doesn't give you that message, right? And we went back and forth. I think we went back and forth in emails like 12 times, whatever, right? And then finally he said, oh, you know what? I tried my old Ledger Nano S and it worked. And I was kind of like, you didn't even tell me you had a Ledger Nano S. You were telling me you had two X's, and we were going back and forth and try the other X, do this and do that. And did you restore all this stuff? And it turned out his account was created using his older Ledger Nano S. He dug it out of the drawer and it worked, right? So I get a lot of people with this problem, right? And it just means that you have the wrong device attached or the wrong configuration. I've been through, I think I've told you this story many times. Oh, thank you, H. Herodian, for those pounds. I think that's those British pounds. Thank you so much for all the tips. Joseph, who also sent me a very nice New Year's wish. Thank you so much. The story that I was about to tell is that when someone has a problem with their device, like they accidentally reinstall, they accidentally enter the PIN 3 times, and they have a factory reset. They're trying to recover the device, but instead of recovering the device, they set it up as new again for the second time, right? Because they've already done it once, right? And then they've wiped it by accident or on purpose or whatever, and they're trying to restore, but instead of restoring, they set it up as new. It gives them a new 24-word recovery phrase. Now they've got the same device, but in a different configuration. So none of their old accounts work anymore. And they're freaking out. And I've had, people with that problem contact me before, and I've said to them, do you have more than one recovery phrase? And they'll say, oh, no, I've only got one. And I'll say, are you sure? Don't you remember when you first bought your device 3 years ago, you wrote down the recovery phrase on a card and then you put it somewhere? And they're like, oh, that. I'm like, yeah, that. That is the recovery phrase that you used to set up all your accounts. And then at some point you whacked out your device, you did a full reset, and then you set the device up as new. And so now none of your accounts work. So go dig out that 24-word recovery phrase that you wrote down originally, restore from that, and your accounts will sync up again. But sometimes it gets really confusing because after they set up the new device, they create new accounts, and now they've got different accounts that are tied to different configurations. Then they're really whacked out, right? But it's not a loss, right? As long as you have both recovery phrases, you can still access both configurations and recover whatever accounts you created. And generally, what will happen is after they've reset the device, they'll just continue to send crypto into those old account wallets. And then the day they try to move the crypto out is when they freak out and realize that there's a mismatch, right? So, but there's a logical explanation for everything, and as long as you have your backup, you should be fine, right? So thank you again, H or Joseph. Thank you so much. Scott's going to go do dinner. Great. I did a pork roast tonight in a glass pan with foil on the top. I like to slow cook them like that. It worked out pretty well. So I don't know what Scott's got planned tonight, but I'm sure it's a little more elaborate and will probably taste a lot better than my pork roast. But I'm always jealous of Scott and with his cooking. Let's see. Barbara, let me know the name of a good book to tell me how to get rid of negative influences. Would love that. Negative influences. You know, sometimes the worst negative influence that in my life is that guy staring back at me in the mirror, right? He's a negative influence on me, right? So sometimes that's the guy to work on, right? You get that guy straightened out, or that gal, in whatever your case may be, then the other negative influences in your life don't seem so strong, right? If you have the positive outlook and you're not banging on yourself, it's much easier to deal with outside influences, right? Have seen the purple Nano X, just got mine, and I'm in love. The purple Nano X, I think you're talking about the Stax, right? I ordered 2 Stax, but we won't get them till March, so I'm just trying not to think about them. Richie Bison, working out, exercising hard seems to get all my negativity. Yes, those endorphins. Take a walk, play with the dog, run around the block, lift some weights, do some cardio, jumping jacks, all that kind of good stuff. It's always good. Cannot open a Cardano account in Ledger Live. Do you know how to fix it? Yeah, that's a good question. So let's see. I've got an account here of Cardano. Let's just get rid of it. I don't know what you mean by open it when you say open an account. Generally, the term in Ledger Live is add account, right? So when we hit add account and we choose Cardano, right? That should, if we've never stored Cardano on the device, then it should just create a blank Cardano account, if that's what you mean by open an account, right? So I have my device attached, and this is the secondary device, right? The configuration we're looking at is all accounts that are on this Ledger market, black on black, right? Those 4 accounts, right? Well, there's Cardano on there. I took it off, right? But now I'm going to add another Cardano account based on this secondary ledger, right? So the first thing, if you're in Ledger Live and you add an account, it wants you to connect your device. So connect your device. The next thing it's going to do is check to see whether you have the Ledger Cardano app installed on the device. And if you don't, more to that question. Okay. Okay, let's see what he's saying here. Who said that? Okay, cheap. Okay. The error message that I get is device app version 5.0 unsupported. Recommended is version 4. Yeah, I see that now, Dan. Thank you. I appreciate it. Device app version 5.0 unsupported. Recommended version is 4.0. Well, that's very odd. I've never heard of that. Let's just take a look at my device. and see what version. Oh, is it going to let me do this or not? Should. Okay. All right. It's being difficult. Let's just go ahead and open this. Oh, maybe because I was in the middle of opening it. If you can see this okay, let's go. I'm going to navigate over one. Expert mode is disabled. Version 5. Okay. So why would it be telling you that version 5 is unsupported? It doesn't make any sense because that did not happen to me. Let's see if it does or not, right? Let's go ahead and add it and see what happens. If it gives me that message, then we'll know. Because I am running the version 5. All right, so let's do it again. Let's hit add account. Let's go to Cardano. Let's hit continue. It says Cardano's already open, right? Already installed and already open, right? Okay, it finds the first one. Finds the second one. So works fine for me. So first thing we'll chippy. First thing we'll check is what version of Ledger Live are you running? Are you running the latest version of Ledger Live? I don't know how you managed to get the latest version of the Cardano app if you're not running the latest version of Ledger Live. But that's it. Actually, I believe that would be possible, right? If you're running an older version of Ledger Live, and we'll go over here to About, and the current version of Ledger Live is 2.51.0, right? We can also just double check on ledger.com. We can go over here to Ledger Live. We can download the Windows app, and the installer will tell us what version it is. Once it figures out what's going on. Okay, right. So there, Ledger Live Desktop 2.51.0. So that is the latest version, right? 2.51.0. So perhaps you're not running the latest version of Ledger Live. Barring that, you might want to look at the configuration of Windows, right? Are you running Windows 7 or something weird like that? I would recommend running Windows 10 or Windows 11 if you're running Ledger Live. It's good to stay up to date. Right, so check those. I could not recreate your issue, and I am running the latest version of Ledger Live, and I'm running Windows 11. So you might want to just double check that. If you are not running the latest version of Ledger Live, then all you really have to do to get to the most current version is, and if it's not telling you need an update, right? If you've got this, there's a purple bar or an orange bar at the top that tells you there's an update for Ledger Live available. If you're just ignoring that, then I would suggest just going ahead and running the update. If you're not seeing that bar at all, if you are on a 3-year-old computer that's running a version of Ledger Live that's like a year behind or whatever, and it's too old to even show you that update bar, then completely quit Ledger Live, go download the latest installer, run the installer, and relaunch Ledger Live, and it'll be at the latest version. I'm using the latest version of Ledger Live. Oh, you're on a Mac. Oh, ouch. Ow, that stings. Mac version. I don't have a Mac in order to recreate the issue. I'm not sure why that would be happening. I don't have a fix for that. Don't know what to tell you if you're running the latest version of Ledger Live. I don't know that I don't believe there's any way to downgrade the app that you're using. I don't know if maybe you installed the app from your phone, or on a PC, and now you run over to the Mac, you might try simply deleting the app. So say you're over here in Mac Ledger Live, right? You're on your Mac and you're in Ledger Live. You might just try deleting the Cardano app and then reinstalling it. That's might work, but it just seems like a very odd message, odd problem, right? And you can look in the app catalog at the version that is current in Ledger Live, right? So if you're in your Mac version of Ledger Live and you go over to the My Ledger section, and then you scroll down to the Cardano app, and it says 5.00, then that means that there's no way you're going to get version 4. If for whatever weird reason it's version 4 on a Mac, maybe that's the issue, but I don't think so, because the app on the device says 5.02. But I don't know if I don't think that it would be a different version if I were on a Mac, right? Because I should be able to take this device to any machine and make it work on any version of Ledger Live on Unix or Linux or Mac or PC. Shouldn't matter, right? So I'm just thinking that the latest version is 5, even on Mac. Should be. Ethernet Eternal works fine. Okay. Well, that's weird. Yeah, because I have Eternal also. You know what? I would just throw this out there that it could just be a bug in the Cardano app for Mac, because the developers, the Cardano developers, are mostly responsible for the Ledger Live apps. I'm sure they use some Ledger Live APIs or whatever, but whenever there's an update to a blockchain or the code or whatever, the developers of the project, like the Polkadot developers or the Cardano developers, have to update the app for Ledger Live, right? The Ledger device app. They're responsible for that. That's why when you go into My Ledger, it's very common for you to have app updates, right? You should always make sure you're using the latest version of the app. Now, with Polkadot, it breaks quite a bit because the developers are busy doing the main thing, which is their blockchain. And so they'll update their blockchain, and that breaks the functionality of their Ledger Live app. So and we've seen this in Ledger Live with Atom. We've seen it with Polkadot. We've seen it with Cardano, maybe not so much, but sometimes the app interface or the functionality in the account in Ledger Live is just plain broken, and it needs to be fixed. So that's probably what's going on with your Mac version of the Ledger Live app. That's the only thing I can think of. It seems like the Mac account interface is expecting that older app version 4. Seems weird. Just seems odd. It seems like you got your app updated, but the account interface is broken. And I've seen the account interface broken in Polkadot and Cardano, and usually that means it needs to be, have an app update, and that usually fixes it. But I've never seen the situation where you are running the latest app on your device and the account interface is broken because your app is too up to date. Usually it's the other way around, right? The app is outdated. So, yeah. Sorry to hear that that's happening to you. That's distressing, right? But as long as you can go over to Eternal and check your balance, and at least you're not dead in the water. At least you're savvy enough to use an alternate third-party wallet, which is working. Yeah. I might have suggested adalite.io or Eternal or whatever, but most of the time people want to know what's wrong in Ledger Live. So I'm glad that you have the skills to do, an alternate wallet. Yeah, I was a Mac person for many years. Back in '94, when I first came out to California, I stumbled into a job at a Mac retailer. This was way before Apple stores, and kind of fell in love. I'd used PCs before. I'd had PCs before. Kind of fell in love with the Mac, and started doing consulting, going around to people's houses and working on their Macs. And then I got a job at another place where I was in sales, and worked there for a while, selling Macs, and was doing pretty good as a salesperson. And the guys, it was a family-run business, and they were pretty cool with like letting me take home a computer on credit, and then I would just kind of pay it out of my pay. They deduct it from my paycheck on whatever you call that, consignment, or whatever you want. So yeah, I mean, for many years, back from like 95 to 2000, I was like strictly a Mac user and really loved Mac. It's very easy to use, whatnot. Although I ended up switching over to the PC side, and I was always distressed by the fact that Mac tended to, the company Apple tended to be more phone-centric as time went on, and they tried to make their Mac OS more like iOS. And so, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with Macs in general. But I have had some troubleshooting with some people with crypto and Ledger Live in particular, and she was having trouble with her Mac reading the device, right? She would plug it in and the Mac wouldn't recognize it. And we had to go through all kinds of troubleshooting before it actually connected and worked correctly. I like had a reboot and, disconnect, reconnect, try different USB ports. We did everything we could think of. And then in desperation, I said, look, just take out a flash drive and plug it into your Mac. I want to see your Mac recognize something. And so she did. She pulled out a flash drive, she stuck it in, and all of a sudden it went bloop and mounted up on the desktop. And I was like, okay, now we know that the machine can recognize a USB device. So take that flash drive out and now try your Ledger. And lo and behold, when she plugged that Ledger in, I heard bloop, and then I saw up on the top right alert saying Ledger device connected. And boom, after that it worked. So it's just like, it's a black art. And I don't know if that was because it was a Mac, because PCs have USB connection issues too. I've seen that millions of times. You plug something in and it doesn't recognize it. Maybe you have too many USB devices plugged in. Maybe your computer's on the fritz or whatever. So, it's not exclusive to Mac, but I had never experienced that before. 1984, first Mac. Yay. Wow, 1984. Woo. I remember when I was working at that Mac store back in like 96, 97, 98, somebody came in with like an old Mac, like not the original Macintosh, but I think a second gen Mac something. And he was like, do you want this? I think I bought it for $50 just to have it. And I took it home and it worked. But it, after a few years, there was really not much it could do. And that's another problem I always had with Macs, that they would just get obsolete so fast. Like someone with like a 6-year-old Mac would say, when I go to this website, it tells me my browser is not capable. of viewing this website. And this was back in like the 90s. And I would say, well, you need to update your browser. And they'd say, oh, okay. And they'd go to update their browser. And then the Mac would say, this browser, this version of the browser is not compatible with this version of the Mac OS. You need to update your Mac OS, right? And sometimes that would be the end of it, right? They'd update their Mac OS, and then they could update their browser, and then they were able to work. But sometimes they would try to update their Mac OS, and then the Mac would say, this version of the Mac OS will not run on this machine because the machine was too old. So that's just like, not to say that that doesn't happen on PCs either. But Mac, I always felt like Apple and Mac always tended to be forward thinking and more quick to abandon older technology, like the floppy drive. Remember Steve Jobs, came out with the iMac that didn't have a floppy drive on it. Everybody was freaking out. Where's the floppy? Like Steve Jobs was like, who needs floppies? We don't need floppies. He was ahead of his time, right? Because now, you seen a floppy drive on a computer in the last 10 years? No. And PCs and Windows were more backwards compatible oriented, right? So the PCs, a lot of times they were held up because they were so busy trying to be backwards compatible and not leave anybody out in the cold that had like a really old machine. So it's just two ways of thinking about technology, right? But I knew I had a guy that I worked for at his house, and he was convinced that Apple Computer had a conspiracy to force him to buy a brand new computer every 2 years or whatever it was, and he refused. He had an old Mac LC. Have you ever seen one of those? They're like, I don't know what they're about the size of a record album. They're like slim, rectangular, and you put your monitor on top of it. Yeah. And I kept telling him, man, this machine, you just need to get a new machine, man. It's old. You need to upgrade. Oh, no, I refuse. It's okay. I had a similar problem with the Mac connecting to the Ledger Live. It was a problem of voltage on the USB-C ports on the new Mac. Finally fixed it. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, and Mac was also one of the first computers to have USB-C ports on them, right? The smaller connector, right? And PCs had the old USB-A type connectors on the back. But now, my motherboard has 2 USB-C connectors on the back of it, right? So yeah, Apple was ahead of its time. Let's see. What else can we do? Let's see. Let's do some transfers for some newcomers that might be here tonight. Let's go over to crypto exchange KuCoin. I happen to have some stable coin on KuCoin that we can use to make a trade. Let's see. What is this? Okay, past that. Gonna use my 2-factor here. Why don't we buy some Polygon, right? We can buy Polygon and we can talk about the different chains. That's probably, whoops. Let's see, KuCoin. Okay, we'll get in there. All right, so KuCoin has this weird separation between the main account and the trading account. I don't use the futures account. I don't do that kind of stuff. But in order to trade, you have to have assets in the trading account. And then in order to withdraw, they have to be in the main account. You can't withdraw directly from the trading account, as far as I can tell. So after you've made your trades, you have to transfer everything over to the main account if you want to make a withdrawal. Supposedly better security, I guess. So let's go into the trading account. And you can see here that I have some US Tether in here. So let's use this Tether to make a trade. We'll go ahead and buy some Matic, right? We've been talking about Polygon and Matic tonight. Might be a bit high now, whatever. I probably missed the boat on that one. Solana too has come up since we talked about it last week as being down and out. Let's see. We'll go to trade up here. We'll do our spot trading. We'll click here and choose Matic. All right, and let's look at our Matic pairs here. Yeah, so we went Matic US Tether. We could also trade for US dollar coin. Let me move up here. I'm kind of covering up this, covering up the camera. Or I'm covering up the clock. Yeah, so you could also swap BTC for Matic. But let's do our Tether. All right, we're going to do a market order just so we can watch it. And we'll, let's do 100 Tether. Right, you can sort of see it behind me. We'll choose Buy Matic. Okay, that was successful. Now we need to go through this whole thing about transferring the Matic from the trading account to the main account so we can make a withdrawal. All right, so let's hit transfer. Actually, we need to do this, right? We need to go from trading to main. And not the Tether. We'll just leave that over there in the trading account. We'll just transfer the Matic we just bought. All right, we'll hit confirm. And we're done there. Now, let's go over to Ledger Live, over to the accounts. Notice there is no, well, we got that Cardano account. But curiously, what I've done here, slightly confusing. I should change the name of this. I should edit the name of this and call this Cardano X, so that I know it's associated with my Ledger X and not my Ledger Black on Black. These should all be, you know, whoops, I don't want to remove it. Black on Black, B-O-B. Okay. So the ledger will remember, but I might not. Let's just take the main off there, right? This way, I have alerted myself that all of these accounts were created using my Ledger Black on Black Market Edition. And this other account that we've just created for the Cardano was, I was using this one, right? See, it's got the old silver outer covering, right? This is my go-to Ledger Nano X. So I'm going to create a new account using this device. If I could get it up here, use device, and we'll do Matic. If I can find it, there's Polygon Matic. And so basically I already have the app installed, or is it it's going to check. Maybe I don't. Oh, okay. So I didn't, for whatever reason. I must have deleted it at some point. Open the Polygon app. It looked like it and just installed it. There should be an existing account here already. It may be empty, right? But there should be one that was there before, because I have used this device to manage the Polygon before. But I think I sold most of what I had a couple months back. Okay, so there is still, okay, there's two different accounts that have some Polygon in there. We'll just stick with the one that's got the larger amount. But we'll call this X, right? Because that indicates to me that it is tied to the X. So if I use this one and try to do a quick balance check, it'll tell me to open XRP, right? But it's going to fail because this is not the same device that created the account, right? Wrong device, plain and simple. I have two devices, right? I've got this black one and I've got this silver one, right? So each device can manage accounts in Ledger Live, and every account is tied to a device, right? So you can manage multiple devices in Ledger Live. You just have to remember which is which. And the Ledger will let you know if you have the wrong one, but that can be a little distressing. So it's better to just name them accordingly so you know ahead of time. All right, so we got our Polygon account here. Let's click on it, and let's do a receive and generate a receiving address. I'll go ahead and do the hardware check just to verify. All right, there's the address. I'm going to copy that into my clipboard. And then, actually, I'll just leave it up for now while I do this withdrawal. Let's go over here. Let's, I think I need to refresh this to get that Polygon to the top. There it is. Matic, right? Let's talk a little bit about the withdrawal. I'll just put this down for a second. When you make a withdrawal of Matic from an exchange, they give you certain choices, right? They'll say, choose your network, right? So I could withdraw this on the Ethereum network, ERC20, and it would convert it from native Polygon into Ethereum-based Polygon, which is the older ERC20-based Polygon or Matic, right? We don't want that. We would rather withdraw it as native Matic. But if I were to do this, then it wouldn't show up in this Polygon account. It would show up in my Ethereum wallet as a sub token, as an ERC20 token. But what a lot of people do is they get here and maybe they're expecting it in their Ethereum wallet, right? They just have an Ethereum wallet set up. They haven't set up, they haven't set up a Polygon account. They expect it to go into their Ethereum wallet because they may already have some in there already. Who knows? So, but they get here and then they go, oh my God, $4? This looks cheaper. Let's do this. And so they switch to the Polygon network, not knowing what that means, really, and not having a Polygon account set up. And then they, but the address would be the same, right? And it never shows up in their Ethereum wallet because they've withdrawn it as native Polygon. So what they need is a Polygon account. And they can do that after the fact if they want to. Right? But most people don't realize that when you use an alternate network when you're making a withdrawal, it has consequences, right? It's not like, oh, it's all going to the same place, but we've just got different rates based on these esoteric protocols, right? Oh, well, let me choose the cheaper protocol. No. You have to know what you're doing, or you could end up not knowing where your crypto went, right? If I were to use this KCC, I wouldn't know where the hell that would end up. I could check to see if Ledger Live has a KCC app. Maybe we can do that later. But we'll just stick to Matic here. Let's hit confirm. All right, so now we need the address. I think we already have that in our clipboard, right? And what's it doing now? Why isn't it showing me? Okay, there. That was weird. There. I'm going to take the maximum amount. It's only going to charge me a little bit. 1 Matic, which is not bad. We'll hit withdraw. And I need to jump through some hoops over here. I need to put in my trading password. I need to get an email code that they're going to send me. Let's see here. That was weird. I really have that many emails? All right, there's my withdrawal code. We'll go back over to KuCoin and paste that guy in. And now I need my Google Authenticator code, my 2-factor code from Google, my Google Authenticator. 372. And if I put everything in correctly, it should say, yay. All right, so remember, you know, we needed to use the right address. We needed to use the right network, right? So that we did all this properly. Suggestion, leave all of your crypto in your Binance account so these network mistakes will never happen. LOL. You know, we've talked lately about self-custody, and, you know, the FTX debacle has brought that to the forefront because, you know, I've often listed the things that could go wrong by storing all of your crypto on an exchange. Most people were worried about hacks. Someone's going to hack it and steal it. But the bigger danger, as we found out with FTX, was bankruptcy, right? The exchange goes under. They don't have enough money to meet their obligations. And suddenly, all the crypto that they were holding on deposit for their clients is inaccessible or gone or whatever, right? We don't know exactly what happened with FTX. So that's a real danger. And people have been talking about Binance lately. What's the story with Binance? Are they still solvent, or have they ever been solvent? Will they continue to be solvent? So maybe you were being sarcastic there. I don't know. All right, so I'll go ahead and finish this off, this verification step, so we can dismiss this window over here. Now that we've done that, we can unplug our device. Whoops, sorry. Now that we've done that, we can unplug the device. The device does not need to be connected when it's waiting for an incoming transaction, right? There it is, right? It came in. Let's scroll down here to the latest operations, and we just received that about $100 worth of Matic tokens. Pretty cool. While I'm on the subject of looking at my Matic wallet, you can see all of these unsolicited NFTs that get dropped into my wallet. They're either scams or sometimes they're like marketing ploys, right? They're trying to get you excited about their collection or whatever, but generally they're worthless because anybody can just create. Like in the old days, it was ERC20 tokens in your Ethereum wallet. You just get random ERC20 tokens that were basically worthless. Same now with Polygon. There's a lot of people spamming you with like unwanted NFTs, right? So first of all, they're worthless, right? At best, and then at worst, sometimes they're like phishing attacks in a way. If you go onto a NFT market and try to sell these, there's weird code that might figure out that could empty your wallet. I'm not sure. But that is only if you attempt to interact with the NFT, like trying to sell it or trying to transfer it. If you see it in your wallet, you can safely ignore it. It's not going to do anything just sitting in your wallet, just like those dusting attacks. There's no harm in a small amount of crypto coming into your wallet. There's no way they can steal your crypto by sending you crypto. You know, I said it out loud. Now it sort of makes sense now, right? I get people all the time. Somebody dusted me with XRP. Am I in danger? Is my wallet going to, get emptied out? Well, think about it. Do you think someone can steal your crypto by sending you crypto? Does that make sense? No. Those are phishing attacks. What they're trying to do is they can shoot out a small amount of XRP into your wallet and then from that, they can look at the address they sent to. A lot of times it's just like a shotgun approach. but they can look at the address and monitor the public activity of that address. And if you're a big giant XRP whale or whatever, and you're moving huge amounts of XRP in and out of your wallet, they can see that. And then they know, oh, well, now I can like take it to step 2, try to target him with a phishing attack, right? If they can figure out your email address or whatever, right? But just having it in your wallet is not going to cause any harm. And in Ledger Live, you can just hide them, right? So you don't have to see them. I think we did this last week and they're back, right? I don't know. Oh, I think because I just added this account, remember? It was like not there and then I added it. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and reconfigure my Ledger Live. I don't know. I can't believe I wiped out my Ledger Live, but I know my crypto's safe, right? Good Lord, and there's a lot of these in here. Oh my God. I wish I could do them like multiples, but you can't. You can only do one at a time. Anyway. Oh my gosh. All right, let's try this again. Okay, there we go. Hide. 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 I don't know. It's like I could probably be doing this all night. And I'm going to have to do it again when I reconfigure this Ledger Live. So, yeah. Whatever. Let's see. Yeah, there's a bunch of them. And they just keep coming. Right? There's nothing you can do about it. Right? The wallet is an open door, basically. So I don't know. It's kind of like the guys that, you know, the spam text and the spam phone calls. They don't know your number. They just have some kind of algorithm that generates random phone numbers. Some of them are good phone numbers. Some of them are just not phone numbers at all. They just try them all, you know, until they catch somebody that's dumb enough to pick it up and go, oh. When was the last time you answered your phone from someone you didn't know? I think anyone over 75, right? Yes, can I help you? Yeah, this is the IRS. You owe us money. Oh, no. Yeah, that's okay. Just give us your bank account. We'll take care of it for you. Same thing with crypto. It's going to be the same thing. You know, people are just going to randomly shoot out NFTs and, you know, for anyone dumb enough to like start like interacting with it. Hey, look, someone sent me a $5,000 NFT for free. Can you believe it? I'm going to go sell it. Okay. It's not crypto's fault that people are getting scammed. It's people's fault. Let's see. Some more birds, bees, and trees is here. Yay. Never leave your crypto on exchanges. Good thought, Dan. I have many tokens from drip drops, and most are worthless right now, and some are still under development. Yeah, I mean, I did some drip drop stuff too, and I've like applied for NFT airdrops and like crypto airdrops and that kind of stuff. Those are like, if I go through the motions to apply for an airdrop and I get it, then that's, I expect that, right? And it might be worth something, it might not, but an unsolicited NFT or an unsolicited ERC20, very rarely is it something that is worth anything, right? At best. And then at worst, it could be like a, you know, one of those smart contracts that can empty your wallet if you start to interact with it. So safely ignore. Can we see my full portfolio? No, I don't do like portfolio. My portfolio sucks anyway. I don't think you want to look at it. You know, I stick to the top 10 or 20, basically. This is what my thing. But I'm not advocating one crypto over another. You know, we talk about crypto news, but I'm not an investment advisor. I don't want to be. Is Mashinsky going to jail? I don't know. So should we just ignore the fish, Rex? So we hide it through Ledger Live? Sure. Yeah, ignore it. If it's an unsolicited NFT, yes. There's no reason to deal with it. I think we can almost get all of these hidden. Now, let's go ahead and let's see. Let's go ahead and add another account using my Ledger X. Let's do Ethereum. We should find 2 accounts. It wants me to open the Ethereum app. So I'll open the Ethereum app. And that's pretty much really all I need to do. It's just going to scan and look for existing wallets that were created using this device. Right? Finds 1, finds 2. I think it's going to find 4 actually. But this one is what I call H, and this one is what I call main. And we could also specify. Oops. Let's throw the X on the end, right? So, and then I won't add those empty ones. Oh, now what we're looking at is I've got several accounts here in Ledger Live, my current configuration. Some of those accounts are tied to my Ledger X, my original one, the one that's got the metal outer covering, right? And then some of the other accounts are tied to this Ledger Black on Black Market Edition, right? They both have different configurations, right? This one has its own master private key and its own recovery phrase. This one has a different master private key and a different recovery phrase. You can create mirrors, but by restoring to the secondary device. But in this case, both of these devices are separate entities with their own separate cryptos, right? And I can manage them both in one copy of Ledger Live. I just need to remember which is which. Actually, I don't even have to remember which is which, because Ledger will know if I try to move crypto and I have the wrong device attached. But for my own sanity, it makes sense to name them accordingly so that I know. This is Ledger X, this is Ledger Black on Black, this is Ledger X, this is Ledger X, this one's Ledger X, and this one's Black on Black. Right, just so I know. Right, and now we can look at Ethereum main, and we can take a look at what's going on over there. And looks like I haven't. Okay, I know this is not something I bought or want, right? So we can get rid of these. Oh wait, let's see. How many of these are there? Are there a lot of them? All right, so the POAP and the Ledger Market, I know those are mine. I bought those, or they were given to me in one form or another. But the rest of these are, in fact, valid NFTs that I'm aware of that I bought, right? I bought the Ledger Market Pass, and I got my Black on Black NFT and used it to redeem my Black on Black Nano X. And then I also bought, using the Ledger Market Pass, I bought the Stax NFT, and I redeemed that last week, a couple weeks ago. Then they also sent me this Ledger Open commemorative NFT, which at the time, I could have sworn when I looked at it, when I first got it, it was like the floor price was like 0.2 Ethereum. Now it's like 0.0084. It's like worth $1 now. Yeah. I used to think, oh, if I buy an NFT now, I'll let it age like wine, right? And then, and like the longer the better. Like 5 years later, it's going to be worth a lot, right? That's not the way NFTs work. Usually, an NFT is hot when you get it, maybe, and then interest dies down and it gets low. Most of my experience has been that way with NFTs. Like I got some airdropped NFTs from PancakeSwap, and they were worth quite a bit when they first came out. And after a few weeks, they just puttered out. The price just dropped. They weren't worth anything. Now they're basically worthless, right? So it's not like, ooh, I have this really old NFT from 2017. Like, no, nobody cares, man. It's not like I've got the Superman comic book from the 1950s. Anywho. All right, so where are we now? Let's see. Any burning questions? Maybe some NFTs or donations to you from your viewers. That's possible, but very unlikely. I doubt it. Most of them I can just tell by looking at them. You know, you can actually check them. You can check their contract address. Like if like for this particular one, right? I can see the token address. I can copy that and then go over to the Ethernet Ethernet.io. Is that it? Whoops. The Ethereum exploit. What's this? I don't think this is it. Ethernet? What happened? Let's just do Ethereum Explorer. That was kind of weird. Oh, I don't know why I put a comma in there. Okay. Etherscan.io. I don't know what I did. I must have misspelled it. All right, so we can paste that contract address in there. And just by looking at the activity in that contract address, you can see that it's above board. If we were to look, let's look at a scammy one. I think there's some in here. Yeah. So let's look at, that says market. Yeah, see that's trying to imitate the, well, maybe, oh, that's right. We moved this one. Yeah, that is actually a official ledger one. But let's look at this thing, whatever the heck this is. Let's do this. There's that token address. Let's go over here and check it. Boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. I don't know. Maybe it's not as easy as I thought, but generally, the scam tokens are obvious. And you can also go to, like, say, OpenSea and whatever. I don't know what that said. I didn't even look at it. Mint Pass SFSG Mint Pass Original, right? SFSG. I don't know if I got that. Actually, I guess what I was able to do before was some of these are pretending to be mainstream. Actually, I bought that one too. But like this one, Overwatch 2 Mint Pass, you can go here. And they actually have legitimate versions of these NFTs. I don't know if these are them. It's kind of hard to tell. I don't know. It's like I am not in the whole NFT thing. But you can go and look at the details and then look at the legitimate contract address. And this is a Polygon-based one. And then you can look at your NFT over here and see if it's the same contract address. It ends in 0065. It's not, right? So there are ways of just double checking whether or not it is somebody accidentally sent you something that's actually worth something, right? You can use the contract address. Most of these unsolicited NFTs are just fakes. Even if there is a corresponding legitimate one that's similar, right? But I know that Overwatch doesn't, as far as I'm, well, the other one was Fortnite. I know for a fact that Fortnite does not have any official NFTs. The game Fortnite, the people that actually own and run Fortnite do not have NFT collections. So any NFT collections that claim to be official Fortnite NFTs are not official. They're just, they may be tradable, they may be have a floor price, but they're not associated with the Fortnite company. So they want you to think that maybe, oh, Fortnite, I've heard of that. Well, maybe it's worth something. Okay. Don't just think that all these people who come on there tell their encounters are all lying. Too many people. Let's see. What are we talking about here? Oh, Mashinsky? Oh, yeah, that was the question. Who is that? Is it something to do with crypto? Entrepreneur. Which bank? I can't look at. Oh, Celsius guy. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. I would venture to say that he's probably not going to jail. If he's Israeli American and he's not in the U.S. right now, he's probably not going to see the inside of a courtroom, right? Unless he's in traveling or whatever, and they catch him in Switzerland or something. I don't know what his story is. I don't know if he may live in the U.S. for all I know. But he is being sued. But usually guys like this that get sued, that's civil stuff anyway, right? I don't know. He's probably got the lawyers to fight it, right? There's always a gray area as long as you have a good lawyer that can point stuff out. It's not like, you snatched a bubble gum at the 7-Eleven. That's cut and dried. This isn't, right? Who's to say whether he was well-intentioned and, wasn't anticipating the crypto market collapse, which happened in 2022, which caught a lot of people with their pants down, right? So to speak, right? Everyone was leveraging themselves to try to take advantage of the bull market, and then the bottom dropped out. A lot of people got left in the cold through no fault of their own. Maybe they were a little over-aggressive, But, where do you draw the line between fraud and over-aggressive investing? It's a hard distinction. Sam Bankman-Fried is trying to walk that line too. Oh, I was just, playing the market and was unlucky. I was just unlucky. Isn't that what Michael Corleone said to Mo Green, the famous casino scene in The Godfather 1, right? He's like, your casino loses money. Mo Green's like, hey, you think I'm skimming off the top, Mike? Al Pacino goes, I think you're unlucky. I don't know. Is that a crime? I don't know. Got Mo Green shot in the eye. We'll see. Yeah, the Celsius scam. Woohoo. Hey, Scott's back. What'd you eat, Scott? What'd you cook? Something good? I hope so. SBF. La la la. They froze our assets and need to be held accountable, but I wish I would have listened to you better. Well, I completely understand if you had assets that you had deposit in Celsius, you know, and you can't get them, then somebody should be held accountable, right? But whether it was criminal or negligence or, you know, bad business, you know, that's a tough one to pin down, right? Sardine sushi and shrimp curry. Oh my gosh. Sounds better than that pork roast I had. Actually, pork roast isn't bad. And believe me, the dog didn't complain. We cut up a little bit, put it in the dog's. The dog is not trained, and so he begs at the table to where it just drives us crazy. So we put him in the bedroom. He's got a big cage. Put him in there during dinner, and then we chop up some meat, or if we're having steak or pork roast or whatever, we'll chop up some meat and put it in this bowl. So when we open after dinner and everything's cleaned up, when we open the cage up and let him come out, first thing he does is go check that bowl. Did he put some meat in there? He liked it. He'd probably just eat up your sardine sushi and shrimp curry for sure, although it might be too spicy for him. My wife won't let him eat anything too spicy. Oh, Scott's got a little dog too. Yeah, we have a husky, hyper dog. Woo, man. Does not bark at strangers. Doesn't bark at anything except me when he's like, you know, when I'm messing with him. But mailman, UPS, Amazon, he doesn't even blink when I don't know if he even hears them outside. But when I was a kid, we had a German Shepherd, and that dog, if anybody walked within 200 feet of the house, man, that dog ran to the window and started barking like crazy. Oh, is it that time? Okay, Dan. I didn't do too much tonight. We just kind of wrapped. I wasn't fully prepared. I've been kind of in holiday mode this last couple of weeks. It feels good. But it's always great hanging out with you guys and just shooting the breeze and doing my best to, explain things. I know personally sometimes I have to see it many times before it sinks in, or at least do it many times, or research it and see it over and over again until I finally get it. So a lot of times I'll just go through the motions of making quick transfers without really thinking. And I hope that you guys, it helps solidify in your mind what's going on with self-custody, right? That's what I'm here for, self-custody. And a little bit of political commentary as well. Yeah. Thanks for coming, Dan. I always appreciate Dan. We are going to be getting together the second Tuesday of January, I believe. So that would be Tuesday, I believe, wouldn't it? Did we already have one Tuesday? Yeah, the 3rd. That was the 3rd was the first Tuesday. So the 10th will be our second Tuesday. I look forward to seeing you, Dan, and Randy, and the rest of the guys. Thanks for being here, Barbara, as usual. Thanks for Richie Bassan. Good to have you here. I hope I didn't miss any questions. I was looking at the chat window. It didn't look like there was a whole lot of people here tonight. We'll see. Just the usual suspects, but that's fine with me. I enjoy it. Oh, I'm sorry. Dior was asking, mentioned the purple ledger earlier. And I thought he was talking about the Stax. He was talking about the actual, I think those are X's, right? Let's see here. Yeah, they have some multicolored. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The purple. Yeah. That's cool. That would be fun. Don't tempt me. I'm just like, I'm so tempted to just buy ledgers when I don't really need them. When I went to New York for their Ledger Open over the summer, there was a table and they were selling Ledger Nano X's, and I was like, I'll buy one, just because it had a nice design on it. This guy here, the V, this thing, that's pretty cool. But there's nothing special about it except the design on the outside. I didn't get a free NFT with this. Yeah. And this Ledger black on black, I didn't need that really either, but I bought it. Now the Stax, that's different. The Stax is new, really cool, and you know, it behooves me to have one so I can do demo videos and, you know, get more views and all that. That's my bread and butter, is like demoing wallets. So looking forward to that. Not till March. Actually, I noticed the other day that one of my videos was doing quite well, and I was pretty happy about it. Yeah, the Ledger Nano S Plus setup video. Where does it say how many views it has? Does it say it here or not? I guess we'll have to go here. Oh, I think in analytics. Yeah, 62K views. I'm pretty happy with that. And let's see, I think, notice the views keep going up. So I was pleasantly surprised that when I looked at my metrics the other day, I was like, hey, this video has like 5,000 views in the last month. You know, people have been checking it out. So pretty happy with that. The other one, let's see if we go, the other one that was, I think this was in, oops, sorry, in 2020, I did how to set up a Ledger Nano X, which that's my most watched Ledger video, to 222,000 views over the last couple years. And then this one that I did in 2019, how to recover your Google Authenticator codes when you lose your phone. It's not getting as many views as it was. I guess it's kind of getting old now, but it's approaching 1 million views. It'll be. Notice that the most viewed videos on my channel are the ones that talk about Google Authenticator. It's ironic, isn't it? I'm more into crypto, but I did do some Google Authenticator, and these two, way old, from 2018. Yeah, what can you say? And then the pancake swap video is pretty big for its day. And I got a tour video. It's got up there, number 5, I guess, 6. It's cool stuff. So Amsterdam crypto prices might dump a week before Chinese New Year. Cool. Could be. Who knows? You know, people, Chinese New Year is a big holiday, and I think as if it's anything like Christmas, you know, people need money to buy gifts for all their friends and family, so they might be liquidating some of their crypto, you know, in anticipation of Chinese New Year, right? I think it's historically it has affected price of crypto. We'll see. Hopefully my views will go up over time as more and more people come in. I put a lot of work into my videos. I was talking with my wife yesterday about TikTok, and someone had suggested I go on TikTok and do videos on TikTok. And I went on TikTok for, you know, about 15 or 20 minutes, and I couldn't take it anymore. They're just, all the videos that I saw on TikTok were just inane. Just for people with short attention spans and whatever. And it's just not, I'm too old for that venue, right? I'm just not, I didn't start this channel to do like two-minute blurbs. I started this channel to show people step by step how to do something complicated, something that took me a while to figure out, a lot of research on my own with no help back in the early days. And I said to myself, if there was just one source I could go to that would show me exactly step by step how to do this and give me a concrete example, I would love it, right? But I never could, right? I always had to, like, you know, grab some info here and some info there and trial and error on my own. So that's why I started the channel, like how to do it step by step. And you can't just buy crypto in a 2-minute video, right? It's like it doesn't lend itself to that format. So I'm stuck on YouTube. This is it. I've done a few YouTube shorts, but that's not really my thing, right? I would, you know, this video that I posted earlier today, you know, it's 30 minutes long. You know, and I've divided it up into chapters for people that they can look at the stuff they want and ignore the stuff they don't. But in order to cover the topic, I need to, you know, it takes time, right? I can't just like skip over all the, I don't know. I'm just old, right? Me and my brother watched your video on the Nano S Plus. It was a big help setting ours up. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. You made it easy for us. Well, I appreciate that, Kenneth. Any updates on getting Lunk onto Ledger? Well, I mean, you can still use... There's no Ledger Live support for Luna Classic. There probably never will be, right? It's a dead project. The only thing that people are doing with Luna Classic right now is speculating, because it is so the price is so low. You know, it's like sub penny, that you could maybe buy $3,000 worth, and it might fluctuate up by 50%. You know, just there's hardly any liquidity in there or anything. It just doesn't make sense to me to get involved in something like that. I mean, it'd be much more fun to take your $5,000 to Vegas and at least get a drink while you're losing your money or winning your money, right? Why sit in front of your computer, you know, agonizing over Luna Classic? It's dead. That's my opinion. But you can still manage it with Luna, whatever, that Terra Station on your ledger, right? You can do that. I have lots of videos on that, right? I'm pretty sure. Purchase Terra Luna and store in Terra Station wallet. If you want to know how to do that, you can still do that. I wouldn't, but you can. Right? Terra Station wallet still works. It's not Ledger Live, but it is managing Luna on a Ledger device. Am I going to do a video on Ledger Billfodl? I have done, I did a video on the, doggone it, what is this thing? No. CryptoTag, which is basically the same thing, almost. Let's take a look here. Boop-a-doo. Where is it? They have the Crypto Steel Capsule. I've done a video on that. The Billfodl is very close to the... No. Let's try phrase. Come on, Rex. Doggone it. Well, let's try 24. I think it should do it. Oh, I got to show all. That might help. Where is this thing? I did a video on an item like that. Doggone it. Back up. Let's try that. Okay. All right, so we did the crypto tag, Black Seed. Is this it? Very similar. The Elipal, what is this thing called? Mnemonic metal, right? So that is very similar to the Billfodl. You basically have, like, you can put the letters in there. So if you're interested, you might want to check that video. Whoops. Yeah, I don't mean to bash anybody's investing decisions. It's not my, if, you know, you want to buy Luna Classic or you want to buy Bitcoin or you want to buy dinosaur token, whatever, all these projects that, you know, are, everyone has their own strategies, you know, and if you're going to buy crypto as an investment, then you would want to put it somewhere safe. Yeah. So yeah, check out that video on storing Luna and Terra Station. It should still hold. And then that video that I just posted a link to there for the Elipal metal is very, the way it works is almost identical to the Billfodl. So that would be the one to check out. Yeah. One of these products comes with matches box included to put fire to the paper word list. Yeah, that's the crypto tag. Yeah. So, whoops. Lost it again. Back up. Okay. Yeah, so the crypto tag video is the one that gives you the matches so you can burn it after you. But the crypto tag is like a little more complicated. You actually have to stamp. You have like this poke tool and it pokes holes in the metal for the codes. So it's pretty involved, but very durable. And then the other one is that, which I can't find, of course, Keystone Pro. I did one that was similar to, doggone it. I did a video that was the Crypto Steel capsule. Yeah, right there. Which was kind of a fun video to do. So if you're interested in that, that's one. And then the other one was the Black Seed. This one. And basically the Black Seed one is you're basically just scratching the words on this metal. Right? It's like you get a stylus and you actually write the words, kind of like those construction paper where it's like covered in black and then you can scratch it off and there's a rainbow behind it. It's similar, but it's metal, right? And it's for your seed phrase. So it's always good to have a very good strategy for storing your seed phrase in a durable format, right? Because paper burns, paper fades, paper can get wet, paper can get torn, lost, that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's lots of options for keeping track of your backup phrase. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'll see Dan on Tuesday and see the rest of you next week. Don't forget, we do this every week. Saturday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join me again for the live stream from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. Hope to see you there. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click. that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me.